Hey, good afternoon. Chuck here with Apple Drains. We're going to take a look at a footer of a new build here on this church, and I think you'll learn quite a bit here. Take a look. So it's late afternoon and it's raining, and we can actually see what's going on and why the footer tile is so important. Can you see all this water? It's just laying there on top of that concrete. That's the footer, and it's a huge overpour. But what's happening is water is getting sucked up through the block into the floor itself. When they pour the floor, the same thing will happen. So what is needed is the French drain. We call it a footer tile, a footer pipe, because it sits right alongside the footer, and it will collect the water and send it out away from this foundation. Hopefully, you have seen many of our videos where we installed this footer tile alongside existing homes. And I promise you that if you put this pipe along that footer, it's perforated pipe surrounded by gravel, and it must discharge to daylight. In other words, it must discharge out away from this foundation, and it needs a downhill run. Here in Florida, things are very flat, so we usually end up putting a sump pump in, and the footer pipe goes to the sump pit, the pump lifts it up, and then we discharge it out to the street. It works extremely well and will not ever have any problems with water coming into this building. You can see what's happening here from that gutter. Water runs over. They need gutters on that main building to stop some of this groundwater and surface water from entering that foundation. You'll also notice that there is pools of water sitting in that sand. The sand is very porous, and it allows water, especially groundwater, to rise up into the block, which will come into the floor, and they will have a problem if they do not put the footer tile in. So how much does this cost? Well, if they do it now, it won't cost that much because it's basically just materials and a little bit of labor. But if they backfill and ask us to, excavate it, well, then it's going to cost quite a bit. Can you see all the water that's laying in the ground as I walk around? This is just from the rain, and it is pouring into that foundation. It is so important. You'll also notice that they have filled the block with mortar. They're trying to keep that water, from rising up through those voids of the block. But without the footer pipe, that water will enter this foundation. Can you see that flood right there inside the foundation, inside the building? That is from the rain, but it's also being sucked up from underground. If you've got a new build, I can't stress enough that you must put in the footer pipe. It is so important. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day. So just a quick note, if you've been watching any of these French drain guy's videos, you've probably noticed that he really puts down Apple Drains. He doesn't really call, Apple Drains, but he puts us down. And, he only does, 8 jobs a year. And it's just hilarious to see what he says about, using a trencher or coming to the job site with a van and a trailer. We've been putting in French drain and downspout drains for 30 plus years, and they all work extremely well.